How's it going, traders? We are back with another market recap. We have intrinsic trading with us, and we're just going to go over some of the stocks that we like, some of the sectors, and just other relevant news and what's happening in the market today. So first up, we are looking at MICT. It looks like it was a sympathy from Socket Mobile, which got a big major deal with Apple today. And so Intrinsic's going to talk about what he likes about the stock.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Yeah, so my initial thinking with MICT, like Greenwood said, it was a sympathy play off socket. And so what I was looking at is that it found some support around 209. And so I ended up scaling in about 240. And I'm looking at, for sure, we can get to 319 pretty easy. And once we get to the 319 level, I'll probably scale out most of my position and then let the rest ride. But I know for sure, I mean, it's an easy play from 240 to 319. So I'm looking for it to hit there probably either tomorrow or sometime this week. And that's pretty much it with that.
Yeah. Just wanted so we can take a recap. We talk about catalysts all the time, and so when we look at a stock like Socket Mobile, MICT, I mean, just checking the price action, the stock goes from basically $3 to $35 the high today. So you want to definitely get the the news and what's going on, because as you see, you're running after a big announcement. So never underestimate a quality catalyst. We talk about that a lot. And so let's look at the next play, HJLI, Hancock Jaffe Laboratories.
Yeah, so one of the things I like about HJLI a lot is that it found support. It sold off a lot and it found support around 707. So I got in about 750. And so how I'm looking at it, like I said, it's another one of those easy money plays because I know for sure the next level of resistance is going to be 862. And it's a strong chance it's going to hit that the next day or so. Now, if it can break 862, the next stop will be around the 1010 range. But my style of trading, I'll probably sell, at least 50%, 60% of my position into that 862 range because I like to sell in the strength. And like I said, if it can break out of 862, I can see the 1010 level being the next stop. I mean, and it showed in the past that it can be a big runner because as you can see, a couple months back it ran to 20. So I mean, it's always a possibility for a huge breakout. But I know, like I said, for sure it should be able to hit the 862, and from that point, 1010 will probably be the next stop. And if it can break the 1010, then it left the 1150ish range will probably be, the next level of resistance.
Okay, yeah. I mean, and of course, we keep talking about this. I like these bottomed out charts. They seem to never ever let me down because, I mean, when you're getting in a stock at all-time low, number one, you're not chasing. Number two, more buyers are coming in here. Smart money's coming in, and they're establishing a more well-defined floor. So, like I said, it's low risk, high reward trading, especially when you have a small float, like a 1 million share float. So this is pretty much a trader's dream because look at the period of time it takes for it to spike. I like to always be in on the latter end of the time period that it takes for a stock to move. So whenever I'm evaluating stock, I want to be in the day before it runs, if possible. If not, a week out, 2 weeks out is fine. But we want to maximize the most of our money in the least amount of time. So that's just our philosophy. And anything else to add to this?
That's pretty much it for that. Like I said, the thing I love about it is the fact that it's coming off a bottom. So I look at these plays, like I say, they're easy because we pretty much know for sure it will hit the next level of resistance. The next level of A62 is almost going to be like a magnet. Now, from that point, it could break down, it could get shorter, but we know it will hit that. And if it can break past that on high volume, then we know almost for sure that it could hit the $10 range. So, like I say, plays like that, those are some of the easiest players you can get in because the risk reward ratio is so much in the trader's favor because you're coming in on the bottom. And pretty much when you get on the bottom, it's just like a magnet. It's generally going to pull towards the next level of resistance. I mean, nothing's guaranteed, but like 9 times out of 10, that's pretty much how these types of stocks play out.
Exactly. Yeah. Looking at, and I'm going to go on to the next screen. We're looking at a stock now that, well, first let's talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin. I mean, what can we say? Mara. We were looking at Mara at $2, in our Discord. So, went to 50,000. But the tricky thing about these stocks is that the stocks that run on fundamentals, like commodities, Bitcoin is becoming a commodity, is that the fact that we're looking at delayed gratification. So, Bitcoin has ran before, and it ran big, and the stock lags and lags, and sometimes you can kind of get complacent and get tired of waiting. But obviously, from $2 to $45 is well worth the wait. So, want to make sure that we are, getting in plays and being patient, and making sure that we're on the right side of the bet. Again, all stocks are not going to run immediately, but if we can, I mean, a week, two trading weeks, and you're looking at a huge run, you can buy, you can scale in, you can scale out. Let's look at CAN, and I mean, wow, what can we say? I was in this stock. I think intrinsic was it too, around $4. It kept going through a false breakout period, and so I just said, hey, I'm gonna wait until it finally breaks 450. Finally broke 450, and it ran up to 7. Of course, you want to be scaling out at some point. Now, if you're long on Bitcoin, you can just keep your money in there. Just keep it in there all year, because we know with big hedge funds, with Elon Musk, with all of these people, Cash App, PayPal, Square, all of these people are pumping Bitcoin. So the average retail investor can get a hold of it, and that's what happened in 4 years ago before it crashed. So Bitcoin is going nuts right now. Now let's look at oil. Oil finally touched $60 a barrel. And I mean, if you want to look at the ETF, then I mean, just look at the trend, look at the pattern, and look at what oil continues to do over a period of time. I mean, combined with the environmental factors, which obviously with snowstorms, with outages, people can't drill, so the supply is going to be drying up. And so, where do you think that's going to leave oil to run? So we're just trying to get in these common sense plays that they're low risk, high reward, where you can load up and make big profits sooner rather than later. And so, yeah, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, like Greenwood was saying, like oil is pretty much, I mean, with everything going on, it's pretty much a common sense play, and every cheap oil stock is getting ran up. So I mean, those are the kind of plays that you want to be in, low risk, high reward.
Yeah, I mean, GTE was another one where we were talking about it around 80 cents, 70 cents, and now $1.23, and it looks like it's not done. Mexico Energy, I talk about Mexico Energy quite a bit, because I mean, this stock has less than 1 million share float, and it spikes. So I mean, you can rely on some stocks. You can rely on spiking pretty much every week, every other week, every month. I mean, there's some stocks that you can just trade. You buy the dips, sell the rallies, and when certain fundamental things are taking place, it's always a good time to buy the stock. Looking at RCON likes to run for no reason. They just run after hours for no reason. So we're in RCON. I think around 260, in the 260 range. But again, a small float, 4 million shares. You just had a 13G filing, 5% stake. Like, you know, investors are getting in these. So it's just a great time for the market. So, I mean, if we want to look at the overall market, let's look at the NASDAQ. I mean, it's just, it just keeps trending up. You know, it just keeps trending up from where we were in September. From where we were in March at the lows to now. Like, look, I mean, you had a couple of pullbacks, you know, double bottom, but it had every opportunity to fall off at this point, and it just doesn't. It keeps rallying. So, yeah, we're looking for. I mean, you know, these markets are just not. They're just shaking off any bad news, and they just keep rallying. So, I mean, you know, we got a double dip, a double round of COVID, and you know, it just continues to run. The same factors that made the stock market crash, they've gotten worse, some of it, and the market's at all-time highs. So never underestimate the power of fear or greed. And the last thing we're going to talk about is EH. This is a company that I thought was on sale. 128 is a drone company. You know, wow, see, it looks like they actually responded to the research report. So you can see this stock skyrocket. But anyway, let's go to the short report where they were accused of being a fraud. So let's see here. So basically, EHang, a stock promotion destined to crash and burn. So, I mean, number one, traders, when you're looking at news, it can make a stock go forwards. It can do nothing. It can make a stock go backwards, like and everything in between. So you don't really know exactly how true, how false something is, but you can always look at the chart and say, okay, you know, if a stock is down 77%, how far do you think it's going to fall before somebody starts buying it back up? It's just like anything, a car, a house. The market can only go down so far on something that's a proven commodity or that's a desired product without people starting to buy it up. And so, you know, back to the chart, you know, that's exactly what I saw. We got in at $47 and we rode it up so far to 55. It went to 58, but I mean, if we're on a 5-minute chart, it's already crossed the moving average. Okay, it's already crossed we got a crossover of 20 to the 50, and then we got volume, and it's actually holding the 20. So, I mean, all of this is the upside. Like, the sky's the limit. You know, once it breaks into the 60s, it can go anywhere. So, again, when, you know, be leery of tuning out noise. What we know for sure is that the stock is down 77%. It was $128 stock yesterday. How can it be this bad? Now, it probably wasn't this good, but we're pretty sure it can't be this bad. And so the truth is probably somewhere in between. And that's what we're betting on. You got anything to add to that, Intrinsic?
Yeah, and one thing I always look at when those short reports come out, I'll go and look at which institutions actually hold the stock. And there's quite a few big name institutions that are holding this particular stock. They don't have huge positions, but that's kind of how I gauge how much of a fraud a company could be. Because if a company is a complete fraud, like some of those short reports say, I mean, you wouldn't have BlackRock holding the position, and you wouldn't have Morgan Stanley holding the position. And so there's a couple of big name institutional investors that are in this play. So like I said, it may not be as good as they're saying they are, but it can't nearly be as bad as the short report is claiming them to be. And so back to what Greenwood was saying, is one of those things where they're probably not worth as much. It's probably not worth 129, but they're definitely not worth, you know, $46 either. So it's probably always somewhere in between. So it could be an easy bounce play for sure for a short-term trade.
Right, right. And that's what we're looking at. Like, you know, we got a certain rule. If a stock is down more than 70%, I have to consider jumping in. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts. So you know, we'll conclude this by saying keep your eye on Bitcoin, keep your eye on oil, and we'll be trying to do more recaps of these moving forward. Appreciate you watching. You can find us on Facebook, Intrinsic Stock Trader. You can find us on Twitter at Greenwood Stocks, Intrinsic Stocks. You can email us at greenwoodstocktrading@gmail.com. And we will leave all the rest of the info in the description and the link. So hope you guys have a profitable trading week, and we will see you back later this week. Take care.